All right, man, we are live. I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. You know how we do it around this time. So make sure you hit them buttons. You know which buttons to push. So right now we have zero guests in this his house. So yeah, man, you back in New York, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, how's Vegas?
Vegas is all good. New York is raining every other day. And just so the people know, this is Marcus Aurelius. Keep it 100 on YouTube. And I'm here with the G with the PhD.
For sure, you're right. Sure, you're right. So yeah, we still ain't got nobody up in this joint, but
Yeah, we
so yeah,
should have.
man.
He's
Yeah,
saying shouldn't it be going? Let me see.
yeah,
Cause I
we
sent
got
it to
8 people
Doc.
now, man. Yeah, so we already got some people, man, chiming in and shit. So Meta Ace, what's good with you, old Dot? Hitman T West Side Bloods. Damn, West Side Bloods, STL. Okay, hey man. You know what I'm saying? I'm North Side, man. And my you know, they used to call it KRB. I ain't never I ain't a gangster, but if I have to, I'll shank you. Put it that way. You know what I'm saying? So what's good, Dr. Johnson? What's cracking with you, bro? All right, so we're gonna have this conversation, man. But for the most part, let me just say this, man, before we even get started. Okay. I want it to be known that whatever viewpoints get expressed on this channel and whatever happens within the context of the chat, we want to keep it respectful. So whatever viewpoints are expressed, whatever viewpoints you like or do not like, just keep it respectful. If some guy gets the mouthing off in my chat, I'm canceling them, like cancel culture. But I'm not going to offer any explanation. But typically, I don't believe in canceling anybody. And if you have a viewpoint, you can express that viewpoint. I'm more than welcome to allow you to express that viewpoint. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your arguments. You're entitled to say the things that you have to say. No, and this is not for you, Meta Ace, at all. No, by no means, because you didn't come in saying slick things about any of the people on or about any of the personalities. So as long as you don't have anything to say about the person, you're attacking the argument. You can attack the argument as much as you would like. But here, we at least want to keep it cordial because we are allowing reason to play itself out. And, within the context of a conversation, people can change their minds. They might be stuck on what they want to prove, but you never know. A conversation is supposed to, ideally at least, lead to consensus. That's what you're aiming to do, right? So we just want to have conversations. You feel me? So anyway, man, I'm going to be defending Pan-Africanism. And then my man Marcus, of course, is going to be defending the opposite position. Okay? So without further ado, as we always do, since my brother Marcus here, man, and tell the people, Marcus, man, where they can find you, because we want to get your channel popping off on YouTube too. So, and
Well,
let them know all of the social media outlets and other online outlets that they can get a hold of you, so that they can peruse your material.
I'm Marcus Aurelius. Same profile picture that you'll find right here, you'll find on Facebook. Marcus Aurelius, same spelling as far as keep it 100. Just how it's displayed on the screen, that spelling, no spaces, just like that is where you'll find me on YouTube. Instagram, Marcus underscore KG underscore MAG. And that's pretty much what it is.
So, I like having discussions with Marcus because Marcus, man, has some strong opinions, and I think that he needs to have an ear, and I enjoy the way that he defends his positions. So that's why I always like to be in conversation with this brother. So having said all that, and thank you very much, Unreasonable Man, for the donation. I really appreciate it around this time. So let me tell you the context in which the conversation began with Marcus and I. So we were having a back and forth exchange on Facebook related to an issue about English actors who are visibly black.
Continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah, get it together over there, my brother. Hey, man, look, I told him about the 6 P's earlier today, man. And you know, he never heard about the 6 P's. And look, in case you don't know what the 6 P's are, man, the 6 P's are proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. So, having said that, man, we got people in the chat at the current moment, man, who are already chiming in on this issue and they're taking sides, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But
I seen a few. Shout out to everybody in the chat. There's a few guys in there that I sent links to. You know, as always, the Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. What's good, my man? And, you know, I see a couple of other people. Alonzo Hall, Miss Mills is a friend of mine. And, you know, hope I ain't leaving my man Al Nazan. I'm seeing everybody up in here. So, yeah, continue. I just wanted to shout them out real quick before we get
done. Man, that's all to the good, man. Welcome, man. Welcome. We enjoy your presence. So, I mean, ultimately, the context of the conversation began between Marcus and I about this issue related to Pan-Africanism or not. It began with a conversation about actors from Britain or the United Kingdom having the capacity to come to the United States and to be able to get cast for roles of actual African Americans, and there not being reciprocity in relation to African Americans being able to play British roles. And then not only that, that there is a great pool of talented and competent actors who could actually play those roles of those African Americans in these films being produced primarily for an African American audience. So that's how the context of the conversation began between Marcus and I. Okay. So Marcus, and thank you very much, Alonzo Hall. Thank you so much for the donation. And so, what defines Pan-Africanism? Like, okay, so before we go there, and we'll get there, okay? Before we go there, I'm just letting you know that this was the context in which the conversation began, okay? Now, what is Pan-Africanism? I mean, ultimately, Pan-Africanism is a political movement, right? It's a value system, an axiology, right? That aims to encourage and strengthen bonds of solidarity between all indigenous and diasporic ethnic groups of African descent. Okay, that's what Pan-Africanism is in a nutshell. So, in other words, Black people in Africa and all of the diasporas, and like the diasporas are immense. They're all over the world, okay? You got Black people in Asia, you got them in Europe, you got them in the Caribbean, you have them in the Americas, okay? And so therefore, Pan-Africanism is the idea that aims to strengthen bonds of solidarity between indigenous and diasporic ethnic groups, okay? Now, it's predicated upon the unique struggles that people of African descent or people in Africa have had to deal with in relation to imperialism from people from other nations, okay? That's what it's predicated upon, all right? So that's just what I'm telling you right now, all right? Now, having said that, I'm going to let Marcus speak his piece, right? And I'm going to let him say what he has to say about this. And my initial thoughts are going to be, to some degree, I'm sympathetic with what Marcus has to say about this. Okay? I am very sympathetic with what he has to say about this, primarily because I am an African descendant of slavery. An American descendant of slavery. That's what ADOS is, okay? That means that there are a group of people who exist in the United States that have been exposed to one of the most tyrannical, the most unjust, and the most brutal and violent forms of slavery, okay? So, Marcus, man, go ahead and speak your piece on this issue, and we're going to have an exchange, just a conversation about this, and then every now and then we're going to have some interaction or some sort of discussion with the people in the chat about this. Okay.
Got you. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So
before you begin, I also want to thank my brother Kalan Jakala. Now you know, with a name like that, he already sounded like he on the Pan African tip, bro. You feel me? So, but having said that, my brother Aurelius, man, please give me some insight on what you feel about this issue, man.
okay. So it should be obvious at this point that I represent the ADOS position. I represent the Black diaspora position. I represent the position of Black Americans born in America that have, descendants of, slave, people who were brought here, enslaved, born in slavery, all the way up to Jim Crow, all the way up to now. Okay, that's the position that I represent. To clarify what was said earlier about our conversations about British actors, my position on that was more so that we have Black people from the UK, which tend to be either continental Africans or descendants of continental Africans or Afro-Caribbeans, not just simply taking acting roles that I guess would be better reserved for Black American actors. I mean, I think it wouldn't be a problem to me if British Black actors or continental Africans or Afro-Caribbean actors were playing these roles, but the roles that they're being given are of Black American heroes, freedom fighters, Black liberation fighters, and things of that nature. So we have Black people from the UK, which tend to be Black Caribbeans or Black Africans playing roles like Harriet Tubman, MLK, things like this, right? Is problematic when these actors themselves have kind of like condescending or sort of views on not only Black Americans but the Black American struggle. So you can't, especially with the woman that played Harriet Tubman in particular, and you got guys like Akon now making these sorts of comments. When you have these types of people who can't relate or are even disrespectful to the struggles of Black Americans in this country, they can't then turn around and play our heroes and our freedom fighters. The guy there's a movie coming out right now with Daniel Kaluuya. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, right? Not trying to be disrespectful to him, but he's someone that recently came out and said something kind of disrespectful, and he's playing Fred Hampton in a new movie that's about to drop. Okay, so my issue with these guys in these movies is not that they're taking up all the good acting roles per se. it is more about the characters that they're being given to play that represent our struggle, something that they either can't relate to or outright are disrespectful speaking on. And that's pretty much what I'm talking about. And there's like a debate going on in the chat section, but
this is a hot topic right now, brother. I mean,
yeah.
like this is a very hot topic, and so
now I want to address the ADOS part of it. I don't want to say too much that you have to respond to. So my position is this, right? As far as ADOS and Pan-Africanism, the ADOS position is pretty much this. American descendants of slavery are speaking on reparations, and that is very specific. And I think that what's happening is people are responding to this as if their non-inclusion in the conversation is somehow disrespectful. I've spoken on this on my page, and I have, like, I grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and that is a place that is like flooded with Afro-Caribbean people. I grew up with Afro-Caribbean people. I've been to the Caribbean. Most of my childhood has been filled with Caribbean food and Caribbean music and Caribbean friends and girlfriends. And I've had friends from Jamaica, Grenada, Trinidad, you name it, whatever island you want to talk about. And then, we've grown up with Nigerians and, people from Senegal and, all of that shit where I'm from. I'm from New York City, Brooklyn, New York, and it's diverse here. So to say that we are taking the position that we hate immigrants is ridiculous, just solely based on the fact that we're saying we are Americans. This is an Afro-American struggle. It is particular to us. We were descendants of slaves in this particular nation. If you have an issue with the nation that enslaved you, my phrase is holla at your colonizer, right? That's what I've been saying. Holla at your colonizer. If you are from Great Britain as a Black person, holla at your colonizer. If you are from any of the islands that have been colonized by Great Britain, holla at your colonizer. You understand what I'm saying? And then, some of these African nations, which in the past were colonized by Great Britain and now are being colonized by the Chinese. Holla at your colonizer. Okay, so with that said, us saying, this is about us, it's not us being disrespectful to you, it's not us being anti-immigrant. It's saying, listen, I can't go to Africa right now where land is being taken from white people and given to Black people because it was stolen from the Black people in the first place. I can't show up there as an American, a Black American, and say, well, where's my plot of land? Because we all Black and we all were oppressed. And no, we can't do that. Black people in America's position is we fought for the rights that everybody else are enjoying. It's just facts, right? So it's not an anti-immigrant position or even an anti-Pan-African one. Now let me get to the point, because this is about Pan-Africanism, not necessarily ADOS, right? So as far as Pan-Africanism is concerned, I like the idea of Pan-Africanism. It sounds nice, right? But in reality, is as far as collectively, I think that it is a dream more so on the part of Black Americans than it is a reality or it being embraced on the other side.
Okay, that's a fair enough. That's a fair enough claim, right? You've given me a lot to work with here. Okay. So let me go to let me speak to the last issue first, and then I'll try to work my way back to some of what you said. But you said a lot, so
yeah, I did. I'm sorry about that.
You said a whole lot, so but it's good for you to get what you have to say out instead of us trying to talk over one another, which we all want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll get
Um,
there later.
so it is an ideal, right? And the only persons who can make this ideal come to fruition are people in Africa
Mm-hmm.
or people who are in the diaspora. Okay. Now, there are some people who say ADOS isn't necessarily mutually exclusive with Pan Africanism. Okay. Meaning that just because you're a member of ADOS and you're seeking reparations in the United States, it doesn't mean that that's mutually exclusive with the idea that Black people all over the world should unite and try to form coalitions in order to throw off the yoke of the domination and oppression that accrues to them all throughout the world related to imperialism or colonialism or slavery.
Mm.
Okay. So speaking, so that's my viewpoint there on the last issue. Okay. Namely, that ADOS isn't necessarily mutually exclusive with that of Pan Africanism. Okay. And I want to speak to the derogatory statements and the viewpoints and the ideals proliferated by some people who may be from areas other than from the United States and who maybe haven't experienced some of the rigors and the socio and economic conditions related to African Americans and slavery. Okay. And my viewpoint on this is the following. You got some people who are from these areas, namely the Caribbean and Africa, who do have elitist viewpoints and who do have derogatory opinions to share about African Americans. That's no question. I'm not even here to dispute that. Okay. But what I would say in relation to that is that these people need to be educated politically so that they understand the importance of and the kind of benefits that would accrue from adopting the position of Pan-Africanism. Okay. Now, it is true that in Africa, there are people who are derogatory and say bad things about African Americans. And then there are people from the Caribbean who say the same thing. They, as far as I'm concerned, they do what white people do. Okay. They use subculture theory and they attach it or fix it or ascribe it to ADOS people. And they say things like, well, you guys have an inferior culture. You guys been colonized. You guys are not pure anymore because of the miscegenation that is taking place amongst you, right? My viewpoint, again, would be these people are ignorant. And I would go so far as to say, you even have ADOS people who are ignorant as hell, right? And who aren't subscribers to the viewpoint of Pan-Africanism, right? And the only reason that I subscribe to any length with the viewpoint of Pan-Africanism is because I don't think white people are ever going to give us reparations. I'm a realist here. And to the extent to which they do so, I don't think that they're going to do so in such a way as to actually try to repair the condition that they put African Americans in. Okay. So ultimately, what my viewpoint about this is, these people aren't going to take their knees off of our necks, man. They're just not going to do it. Their whole purpose in life is to have us remain an underclass. They enslaved us and their own political ideology at some point, and the political warrings and sparring, the internecine warfare amongst themselves, call for the eradication of slavery. But it is common knowledge. These people didn't free us because they all of a sudden had some sort of revelation, right? Some sort of turning point where they realize, oh my God, we're treating you black people so bad. We need to absorb you into the political body. They didn't do that for that purpose. They did it because they wanted to develop a uniform commerce amongst themselves, and they felt that in the long run, the slavery form of production or the mode of commerce, it wasn't sustainable. So even after they got rid of slavery, they still didn't absorb us into the social market. And I don't think they ever have any intent on doing that. And what I don't want to do is, have people like the FBI and the CIA come after me or something like that for what I'm about to say. But when I say, well, man, look, let me just say, fuck these people in this culture, man. Fuck they handouts. Fuck their society. Fuck them, man. I want power, man. I want to see a black nation, man. I want to see black people in power. I don't think these people ever gonna give a shit. And if they do, it's like they gave Native Americans blankets with smallpox in it. I don't think they have good intentions for us, man. I think they want to see us dead. And if they can't see us dead, they want to see us remain perpetually in bondage. Not literal bondage, but economic bondage, cultural bondage. These people don't want to see us get ahead. They have no intent on doing right by us. They're going to keep us confused. We'll never get out of this quagmire until we decide to bond together and unite and rally around the red, gold, black, and green. Now, I know it's quick-sighted, but that's just my viewpoint. I'm coming from it as a realistic position. These people have no intentions on doing right by us. None. And everywhere throughout the world, from Africa to the Caribbean to these United States, everywhere we go in the world, we're disrespected. We're treated like the abject. We're treated like the other. We're treated like less than dirt. So in order to expel this kind of condition or to remove ourselves from this condition, we're going to have to develop some sort of cohesion to overcome it. Now, I'm going to tell you this. There's always been internecine warfare amongst Europeans. Like I'm sure you went to high school and you learned about how the French used to fight the Brits, used to fight the Spanish. When they came here, they fought with each other. They don't have cohesion amongst themselves, but they have enough cohesion amongst themselves to say, hey, if anybody's gonna run shit, it's gonna be us. They have the European Union. Why can't we have the African Union? And there is an African Union, by the way, but why can't we, in order to be pragmatic, bond together to challenge white supremacy? Why can't we do that?
See, okay, so this is how I feel about what you said. Again, the theory of Pan-Africanism, all of that stuff that you said, it sounds great. The thing about it is, and it's it has to be embraced on the other side, right? And I would say this, right? I don't think that white supremacy and our issues with white supremacy has anything to do with this topic. The reason I say that is because in acknowledging our issues with the continental African view of Black Americans, challenging that, right, is not the same as embracing white people or wanting to have proximity to whiteness or being accepted by white people. I don't think that saying that we have issues with continental Africans or even Afro-Caribbeans is the same as, hey, well, let's get these white people to like us, and not acknowledging that they, like you said, want us dead for the most part, this and that and the other, and they'll never embrace us. I think that we have issues on both sides of that. Yeah, you got, you know, the white supremacists, and you got their hate for us, and they want motherfuckers gone. They want, if there was an open arms approach to Black Americans, and there was something to actually go to, you know, and I'm not saying that, you know, because there's this idea that Africa is just a bunch of, like, you know, deserts and zebras and shit like that. No, there's big cities over there. But in all these years that I've been hearing about Africanism, you know, by that name or any other name, you know, there's been no open arms approach on the other side. I feel like Pan-Africanism is just as one-sided as us trying to blend in here with white supremacy. Okay, now, you know, I'm seeing things in the chat, and I'm gonna say this, you know, without referencing someone's name or whatever. I'm seeing someone say, well, you're mad at immigrants and scared to confront white supremacy. The thing is, we can embrace or deal with all our enemies simultaneously. And I think that there's this idea that everyone who shares our skin color is our ally. And that's not the truth. A lot of people are nationalists from wherever they're from, regardless of race. It's just like what you mentioned earlier. There was a lot of wars between Europe between France and Great Britain and Germany and this and that, and these are all white people, right? These are all white folks. Now, like you said, European Union, you know, you have a European Union, and like you said, you have an African Union, but we are not a nation. We are a subset group of people in a particular country, right? Africa is a continent. It's not a country, right? These are a bunch of people that have, you know, whether they be, you know, I don't know what Africa's internal problems between African nations are. I don't, right? But I will say this. We are not a country. And when I say that, I do mean African Americans, Black Americans. We are not a country. We don't have a nation. Okay, so there's, you know, there's no how can I put it, like in the same manner where, like, you know, we're kind of like a what is it called, no country, like we're men without a country, right? Basically what I'm saying is, as long as I've been alive, you know, whether it be in hip hop or anywhere else, there has always been an appreciation for African culture, African imagery, and things like that from Black Americans. And there's also been a you know, a desire to be like us, you know, Africans, and not only Africans but Afro-Caribbeans, embracing hip hop and the things that they find when they get here. All right, but you know, there's no, again, there's no open arms approach to us joining forces with anybody. So when you talk about an African you know, union, there's no, I don't see any invite for Black Americans to join anything that they have over there amongst themselves.
Okay, that's a fair point. Okay, so let me deal with that issue. Okay, let me just give you the names of some prominent Pan-Africanists and see if this kind of answers your question. Now, it again, Pan-Africanism is an ideal to which, if you're dedicated to it, the promise is that it will reap benefits to the extent to which you actively pursue it as an aim or an objective. The extent to which you don't, there will be no benefits derived from it. And so your argument here is that you see Black people aspiring to this position politically, but there's no reciprocity across the aisle or across the Atlantic, right? They just don't have the same dedication to the idea, okay? So let me just give you the names of some famous persons who just so happen to have espoused the political theory of Pan-Africanism. Toussaint Louverture, okay? Jean-Jacques Dessalines, two prominent figures in the Haitian Revolution. The Emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, Julius Nyerere, okay? Ahmed Sekou Toure, Kwame Nkrumah, Robert Mugabe. Like these are Africans, like the last three names that I named, okay? Thomas Sankara and Muammar Gaddafi, who the Libyan is who I'm speaking of, right? And you have people like Marcus Garvey, and of course Garvey was from Jamaica, and he was an American immigrant, and he espoused this viewpoint. And eventually people like W.E.B. Du Bois, who ended up going to Africa, I think he went to Ghana if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong about this, and Ghana has extended an invitation to African Americans who want to leave America and come back to Africa. They've extended an olive branch and said, you can come to Ghana, okay? So, I mean, there's a whole host of persons who are from elsewhere who have espoused this viewpoint. And let me just it suffices for me to say that to some extent, on a whole scale fashion, you don't see Pan-Africanism at the head of anybody's movement from the Caribbean to Africa or America. So, and I think part of the problem to me lies in a lack of political will and a lack of political consciousness, right? And look, I understand ADOS logic. I get it. I understand it, but I think it's just a short view. It's a view that doesn't have the long view of history in mind. My viewpoint is this: until Black people become powerful and are capable of defending themselves economically, socially, militarily against imperial powers, we'll never get respect anywhere throughout the world. It'll never happen. It just won't happen.
But we're not getting we're not getting that same love. See, I think that you're leaving Africa out of the discussion, and when you're talking about.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so I get. But let me let you talk though, so because I don't want to cut you off, because I do cut you off quite often. So go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna. I just wanted to interject, not necessarily make a whole point. I just think that what you're saying, I understand that these men you name, they have the same dream you have, and I do think it's a dream. I don't think that there isn't really anything concrete being offered on the other side. Not anything that makes sense for us to go over there and do this or that and the other. And I think that any offers that are being made are, in my opinion, self-serving of the areas that they're coming from. You understand? Like, I think that again, I'm ADOS. I think that me as a Black American, you understand what I'm saying? I have more to demand from this country because we are invested here, and there's really nothing that is being shot out of Africa that is advantageous to us. They are on the list of people that disrespect us, that you're leaving them out of. You understand what I'm saying? If as our nationality, we are Americans, and I think that there's this idea that because these people are also Black or they are African, that they are somehow aligned with us. Those people from those nations they're practicing their nationalities first over their ethnicities. And you might have exceptions, individual exceptions, but as a collective, no. No. I don't see that happening. And I'm paying attention. And over the years that this conversation has been happening, it's been a very T'Challa versus Killmonger type of shit, where it's like, yo, you might get. I know. Listen, I grew up with people from the continent. I grew up with people from the islands. I have friends from the islands. I have friends from, one of my friends from England, whose background is Caribbean, is in the chat. She's here and she's listening to me talk. And I've known her for over 20 plus years. The thing about it is, these people are very disrespectful in terms of what we dealt with here. They're opportunistic when it comes to when they come here, and they take advantage of the things that we kind of like paved the way for them to enjoy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, is not a two-way street, bro. It's not a two-way street. I understand what could be. I really do. But to me, hold on, I just want to say one more sentence and then you can jump right in. To me, people giving themselves African names and dressing like Africans and this and that and the third doesn't create a space where, oh, we're going to accept these people. They don't view us as the same as them. They don't. And I'm talking about on a collective level. Africans do not view Black Americans. I don't want to say African Americans, because when they come here, they're African Americans. We're Americans. We're Black Americans. They do not view us as the same as them. They don't.
So here's my viewpoint on this, right? And this is what's so fucked up about this, right? And write me if I'm wrong on this.
Mm-hmm.
Black Americans don't see themselves as united or as belonging to one another either. I mean,
how so?
Fuck that nigga. That nigga ain't shit. Fuck, I don't fuck around with you niggas.
But that's everywhere, man.
Wait. I'm just look.
Come on, man.
Look, Marcus, man. Niggas and flies I despise. The more I see niggas, the more I like flies. These niggas, I can't stand these niggas. Motherfucking niggas. Like, it's a whole bunch of Uncle Ruckuses here, man. You feel me? And I say all this to say, and I'm not trying to be hateful.
Mm-hmm.
See, to me, wokeness initially was about, before it became co-opted by other people from other movements, and co-opted by people trying to proliferate identity politics. Wokeness meant consciousness of who you are, where you come from, and how you were stolen from a land, taken to another place to live as a slave and to be a perpetual peasant, a subject. All right? Now, my viewpoint on it, so there's a lot of comments swirling around in the chat, and because we're having a real live conversation, I don't have time to look at it.
Yeah.
And to see everything that's being said. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful of anybody in the chat at all. I'm just speaking from my mind. I'm not even looking at the chat. But my problem is that when it comes to collective organizing or rallying around an idea, it's going to be difficult precisely because people see their own reality as a determinate reality and as the only possibility. And I would go so far as to say a lot of people are kind of skeptical about this idea because they see, and here, this is speaking to the argument that you made earlier about how a lot of people come from elsewhere, from Africa, from the Caribbean, and so on and so forth, and they take advantage of all these opportunities that Black people paved the way for. and they don't do anything
Died for.
right. Paid for, died for, whatever the case may be, right? So, and then they don't give back, and they have no idea about being respectful in relation to giving back.
Well, not just that, but
But hold
Go ahead.
on. Yeah, let me finish that. Let me finish my statement. I'm gonna let you get in, right?
I got you.
I'm gonna do you one better and say, you got a whole bunch of Negroes here to do the same thing. We call them Uncle Toms, Coons, Stepping Fetches, Mammies, and all kind of things, right? So there are a group of people who are capable of cashing in on tokenism, and they set themselves apart from other people in the African American community, and they're able to do so by means of that tokenism, and then they thumb their noses at the black masses, right?
Well,
and
mm-hmm.
and my viewpoint on it is, you can go all throughout the world and you're going to find people like this. I mean, and not only that, you got a group of African Americans. Look, I went to grade school, right, with a young lady, and she was an African immigrant. I don't know exactly what. I think she might have come from Ethiopia or Somalia or something like that, right? And then there was another girl who apparently was from, not the Nilotic tribes of Negroes, which you want to argue the Semitics. I'm not Semitic, but the Nilotic tribe is the Somalis and the Ethiopians, stuff like that. But then you got another group of people who came to my grade school, and they were sub-Saharan. You could tell, okay? Man, we treated them people like pure shit. Called them African booty scratchers. Made fun of how they smelled, how they looked. Made fun of the way that they talked. And I think part of that is because, especially children, we're taught, children, we're taught that Africa is inferior, that the country is substandard, that the people there are backwards. Like, I grew up watching Tarzan. I'm an OG. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up watching Tarzan on television. The representation of African people were that they were a backwards people, right? Like the plate in the nose. I mean, the plate in the lip, the bone in the nose, dancing around a pot of fire, engaging in cannibalism, and so on and so forth. Now, look, my viewpoint on this issue is that it's a lot of blame to go all around, because you got some arrogant, uppity Negroes right here in these United States. Very dismissive, very derisive, just as you have Africans who are derisive, just as you have Caribbeans who are derisive. Because it's an ideal. I'm not saying that black people shouldn't deal with what they got to deal with here right now. But I'm also saying that you got a group of African Americans, straight ADOS motherfuckers, like Oprah Winfrey, like Jay-Z.
I think that's a false equivalent, though.
Look, I'm just saying, here's how it's equivalent. You're never going to have sameness in kind when you compare apples to oranges. You're never going to get equivalency. You're not going to get that. But what I am saying is, you got a whole bunch of people here who think that they're better than other Negroes because they feel like these other Negroes are part of subculture.
Yeah, but white people put down trailer park white people. There's every group that there's classes that think they're above the other class. So to point that out in black people is a misnomer. That's not fair. You understand what I'm saying? That's a false equivalent. That's, the thing is this, right? Black people are separated by nations. They're separated by nationality. There's no unity in ethnicity. Is unity in nationalities. These people are nationals. Okay. The thing is this, right? This is the thing. Using whatever differences black people have with each other in this country is a reach, because again, you can go to the UK, they got gangs there. You can go to Africa, there's differences over there, I'm sure. You understand? And then I see somebody in the comments basically saying black people the only ones that use derogatory terms towards each other. That's bullshit. Okay. Italians call each other guineas all the time. You know what I mean? You know, they call each other wops, all that shit. Okay. But I think that issues between classes of black people is not the same thing as issues between nations of black people. Okay. So nah, that's a false equivalent. Aside from that, you know, African people, you know, or to some extent, you know, Afro-Caribbeans. I mean, I grew up a lot of Afro-Caribbeans. You know, these people also have issues with the nations that surrounding them. Jamaicans and Trinis, you know what I'm saying? You know, Haitians or whatever nations you want to name that ain't even American black people have issues with each other. Puerto Ricans don't like Dominicans. And a lot of Latinos don't like Mexicans. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not the same, bro.
And look,
every nation is waving their flag and they think they're better than the other motherfucker, even if they are of the same ethnicity. And I think that this dream is clouding. Like we don't need every black person here. We don't need Africa to establish unity here. You understand what I'm saying? What's happening is our dream of Pan-Africanism and us trying to establish ourselves or unite with people that don't desire unity with us is weakening our base here.
Well, let me just say this, okay? So there's some stuff going on in the chat, right? Like, brothers, man, like let's not disrespect each other. Don't even respect each other in the chat, yo. Like, we might have different opinions on this, right? But like, even if we don't agree, we don't have to call each other suckers and coons and niggas and shit like that. Like, it's unnecessary, yo. It's just like, you know, like it's unnecessary, man. We don't have to do all that. You know?
I don't think we're gonna like, because you know, this is a passion, you know.
It's a passionate topic, but it doesn't have to resort to ad hominems, man. You feel me?
I understand, man. But you know,
I look at it because like if I don't agree with what you're saying, what am I supposed to do? Oh, you suck ass nigga, fuck you. You ain't keeping it 100. Oh, bitch ass nigga. Like that, like it's just unnecessary. You feel me?
Oh, well, you know, hey, look, man, people. Listen, I've seen a couple comments that's telling me I'm lost and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't care.
But all I'm asking for is for us, even though we have strong viewpoints about ideals, can we at least have the strong viewpoint that we don't need to insult each other, even if we disagree with each other? Can we at least agree on that? Like, because we're not about to start a fucking Pan-African revolution and we ain't about to get reparations tomorrow. Let me just say, I'm
gonna tell you this though. If we can't not attack each other in the chat, then Pan-Africanism being the bigger issue that we're trying to solve here is miles away.
But not necessarily, not necessarily, because let me tell you this: the British hated the French, hated them motherfuckers. You feel me? I mean, they hated the Spaniards, hated the French and the English. The Portuguese, they had hatred of the British, the Spanish, and the French. Like, these people aren't exactly bosom buddies. Best pal, buddy, old pal of mine.
And that's kind of my point.
However, when it came to buckle down, they fought over this peace. But at some point in time, they sat and they conferred with one another and said, look, it's time for us to stop fighting right now. And it's time to dive in on what we made. It's like, you know, like playing musical chairs. They played musical chairs for a little while. They fought for some seats. And I'm talking about resources here. So I'm making an analogy between fighting for resources because there's a finite amount of resources. They're not infinite. Okay. What they came here searching for was gold and land. Well, I mean, initially they came looking for tea. Well, you know, that's the fucking story. Okay? You know,
let me tell you the difference between that and what we're talking about. It's like what I said earlier when, you know, and I think people took it as me saying we're not Americans. When I say that Black Americans are people without a nation, it means that we're not in control of anything. If Africa or any country in Africa had to come to Black America for something, like we are there's no president of Black America. There's no senators, there's no governor. We don't control land or oil, or we don't control any of that. So the difference between that and an England and a France getting together is England and France have an army. England and France have resources. England and France are nations that can join and get together and combine to fight against something else. I don't think that any nation in Africa is looking at Black America as something that they can collab with to gain something else.
peep game. Peep game. I don't have to interrupt you there. I don't mean to.
No, that's good.
Did you know? Now, first of all, Farrakhan is a member of the Nation of Islam, right? So there is no nationalism amongst Black people because we don't control any institutions here. Okay? We don't control commercial institutions. We don't control the educational institutions, the criminal justice institutions. We don't control any bureaucracies. We don't hold any positions of power in relation to legislative bodies amongst ourselves. We just don't. And that's one of the problems. Like, that's why we get constantly disrespected in America. Like, we will never, ever have any respect.
See, in order for us to even get...
But hold on. Like, you got to...
I got you.
You're gonna make me forget my larger point.
No, I got you.
So Farrakhan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, is a second generation immigrant because his parents were from, I think one of them was from St. Kitts and the other one was from Jamaica. All right. Muammar Gaddafi was about to give the Nation of Islam, and it's a Libyan leader. They wanted to give the Nation of Islam $1 billion. $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what the government of America did? They said, no, you can't accept that money, man. We don't want you to form those ties. We don't want you to have no influence from no fucking nation, especially if we can't control it or run it.
Understood.
So my whole thing is this. At the end of the day, man, I don't know. I'm just gonna come out and say this shit. I want some fucking power, man. I want to see Black people have power, even Black Americans. I want to be able to see us go back and forth from one place to the next, like a Japanese American can go back to fucking Japan. Even if he was born here, that motherfucker can go back. They got dual citizenship.
That's something that we have to resolve here, bro.
I want to see us have some dual citizenship. I want to see us.
That's cool.
I want to see us have dual citizenship, man. Because it's much harder for you to operate in the world. Like, I'm just saying, like, think about this. Just think about it. If it ever comes a time when African comes to the fore and they begin to become united amongst themselves, like, I mean, Africa is a humongous landmass, okay? And they have different nation states with different ethnic groups, even within the context of those nation states. Okay? That's the truth. It is the truth. Now, I'm just speaking about what I aspire to or what I would like to see happen. Probably will not happen in my lifetime. Okay? It probably will not. But
go ahead. Mm-hmm.
There have been people reaching out and trying to extend an olive branch to us from the mainland, the motherland. They have done it. A lot of us aren't even aware that they have done it and the ways in which they have done it. My thing is this. Niggas, I hate to say this, man, because I don't want to refer to us as niggas, but we'll never have shit and have no power ever in this motherfucker. We'll never have no power in here.
Yeah, but that's dual citizenship.
Never here. We'll never have none here. These white people ain't gonna give shit up. The only way white people give shit up is through violence. I'm sick of motherfuckers oscillating and flip-flopping on this shit, moving back and forward like a fucking fan. It never happens. It ain't gonna happen. The only thing these motherfuckers respect is force. That's all they ever have respected. They don't
understood
conversations and protests and little marching and shit like this, and motherfuckers holding signs and we matter.
So let me ask you
about that.
Let me ask you a question. Because you spoke on dual citizenship, and I don't think dual citizenship is synonymous with power. It's nice, but it's not synonymous with power. Shit. Right now, we got passports, and the American passports, the ability to go anywhere in the fucking world. Right? My thing is, you said the only way we get power is through force. Right now, a bunch of African countries being colonized by the Chinese. Who are they fighting right now? What power are they taking right now that we're missing out on not being aligned with them? What I'm trying to understand is, outside of the dream of being united with Africans and African nations and the ability to wear kente cloth and all that other shit, what I want to understand is, what do we gain aside from dual citizenship? What is the gain for us? Because again, in order for two nations to unite, there must be some sort of mutual gain. There must be some sort of mutual gain there. So in order for an England to unite with a France, despite the fact that they hate each other, there has to be some mutual gain other than, hey, we're both white. Right? Britain doesn't give a fuck that French people are white. Germany certainly didn't give a fuck that French people were white. Okay? What are we getting from fucking with you? Because that's the reality. Like, what is the benefit from this collaboration? To say that we need to collaborate just off the strength of being black is like saying vote for Obama because he's black. Like, what, aside from this imaginary utopia of all black people joining hands together, standing in a circle, what are we getting? And I mean, in some cases, it's obvious what they get from it. It's like someone said, is they want that American money over there. That's what we bring. What power? Because we're talking about power right now. What power do we get fucking with them? Because there will be terms and conditions on us joining, hands and all this other shit. What are they giving us other than an ability to, I guess, return to our roots, so to speak? Because to be honest, anything, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let you rock, anything that they want from America, they don't have to negotiate with us. They can come and negotiate with the white man. If they want to come here and they want to build businesses here and get American money, they can get a visa and come over here, walk right past Black America and say, hey, white man, white supremacy, what's good? They don't need us for that. They've never needed us for that. Anything that they need from the US of A, they do not have to walk to Black people to ask for it. They do not have to get it from us. It's just like if you want to talk about Black women and the Black man, Black women have never had to come to Black men for their progress. And the same applies to Africans. They do not have to come to African Americans or Black people for their progress. They can walk right past us and go to either the US or Europe or wherever white people are running nations. We do not run shit here. They do not need us other than for us to come there, buy some trinkets and some clothing and shit like that. That's it. There's no joining of nations here. So I want to know, how does this translate to power? Since that's the conversation we're being discussed right now, how does this translate to power?
All right, well, that's a very big question. Okay, first of all, I'm thinking that in relation to the power we have here and the wealth we have here, so to speak. Let me just say this shit. Like I've already said it. Let me show you with a graphic. Okay, you see that?
Hold on, let me look.
Yeah, look at that shit.
I see it.
All right, so this is what black people are working with in this motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what ADOS is trying to address, right?
Absolutely.
So the white family has 147 G's. The Latino family has about 6,600 G's. The average black family, and I'm not saying all black families,
no,
but the average black family has 3,600 G's to give their children. I mean, there ain't a lot of shit that we gain in here. Like, okay, we have a standard of living, so to speak, in this motherfucker. We have a standard of living here, okay? But we ain't got shit here. We don't have shit here other than to be able to go to a job and make somebody else some money. We don't have any wealth. And when we have, like, let me just say this. There have been moments in which black people, despite the fact that they were ostracized and carved and cleaved off from the social body of white folks, right? During Jim Crow, they established communities like Tulsa, Black Wall Street. They came and just obliterated the shit, destroyed it whenever they got good and fucking ready. Whenever they decided to do it. Wait a minute.
Absolutely. Understood.
So my viewpoint on it is this. If we create, and I'm not saying that it's going to happen and it's going to be quick-sighted. I do not have this romantic notion that all of a sudden black people, by co-aligning themselves with Africans, are going to all of a sudden, magically and mysteriously, just all of a sudden have some power like on a fucking anime cartoon. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about long-range chess playing. First of all, they don't want us here. They don't like us in this bitch. They done made us poor. They made us broke as they can make us. They kill us indiscriminately. They arrest us and do what the fuck they want to us. They create ghettos for us to live in. They don't give a shit about us here, man. They don't give a shit about us, bro. And your argument is Africans don't give a shit about us either. They don't care about us. They have no love for us. And I'm saying that there are some people there who do not care about us, don't love us, and don't give a shit about us. That's the truth. But I'm saying that there are some people who have the long-range view in mind that you got a group of 40 million Negroes in the United States. See, I'm giving too much game up here. I don't want the fucking CIA to come knock.
But my question is this. So you got that graphic up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a result. You know, we know the history because we've established that, you know, white people don't like us and this and that. I don't see a reverse sentiment on the continent that would affect those numbers that you posted. My thing is, okay, I see what you put up there. How does a mass migration to the continent affect those numbers? I see somebody said $3,600 will go a long way in Africa, but that's American money that you got in America. Once you go over there, what do you go over there and do that brings you that same $3,600 in American money that you can stretch in Africa? What I'm saying to you also is, okay, Black American nationals going to African countries? What is there that will affect, like you said, that $3,600 number, that graph that you showed us?
Okay.
How is our incomes of how is the income of the average Black person in America changed drastically by adopting Pan-Africanism and going over there? How does that go?
Well,
Like,
I mean,
what is there for us there that is going to double or triple or quadruple that number? Other than, like I said, hand holding and ankh wearing and kunta kinte cloth shit, like, aside from, yeah,
look,
what is
okay,
there for us?
look, man, look, bro. We men, right? We men, right? Or we not men? We are men, right?
I'm listening. Yes, we are.
We
We
can
are
be
men.
able to go all over this fucking planet and plant our seeds. And like Jay-Z said, I can go on God's green, anywhere on God's green earth. I'm gonna triple my worth. We should be forming alliances where we can have state power. Because let me tell you, Black men in Africa, they have state power.
We're outsiders.
We are
Over
outsiders.
there. Over there, we're outsiders.
I'm not saying we're not outsiders, but we can become insiders with what they call them, what they call babies, what they anchor babies.
That ain't working nowhere else.
Hey, look, it's just an idea, bro.
I understand the idea, and I don't have an issue with the idea.
All I'm saying is, I would prefer for Black people, especially Black men. I can't worry about what these motherfucking women over here doing, man. They already bought into this motherfucking culture, and they're reaping benefits from it. They're getting benefits from this shit. Black men ain't getting no benefits from this, man. We are at the fucking bottom of the totem pole in this bitch.
Anything that you have to say about Black America and our issues here, I am not in conflict with. What I'm saying is the idea is being said that there is things waiting over there for us that are exponentially better than what's going on here. What I'm saying is we are just as much of outsiders there as we are here. You're saying white people and white supremacy don't like us. Well, them motherfuckers over there don't like us either. If we come out there and we start fucking these African women and, you know what I'm saying, and buying up all the good property and this and that and the other, we will become expats, invaders, immigrants of those nations. Us being Black like them ain't gonna mean shit. We will be outsiders of those environments. In the same way that you said, well, African booty scratcher, and I'm sure that the ridicule that Africans endured in this country, a lot of that was before Afrocentrism, because there was a large point in time where Black Americans were Afrocentric and we embraced these people and their culture. But fast forward, going into that area over there where you have, you know, whether it be Nigeria or Ghana or any of that, if you had a Black American invasion of those areas, we will be outsiders and we will be treated as such, and there will be things done to prevent us from getting too much power over there, although they don't mind the Chinese taking over that motherfucker. I'm telling you, they view us as beneath them, and the idea that we can come over there with our American dollars and be bigger than them in their own space, it would be a problem. If you don't think that's some shit, and I care says, and what could they do about it? They outnumber us, bro. South Africa fought the white man out that motherfucker because they had the numbers. I hear people talk about Black America needs to take up arms and fight white. We don't have the numbers, and we never did over here, and we definitely don't have them over there. But those South Africans had the numbers to fight that white man down there. Okay, the thing is, again, they don't they don't look at us as who they are. They don't look at us as being them. Just like Jamaicans don't look at Trinidadians as being the same as them because they are national. They are nationals to their environment. If we came over there, it would not be embraced, especially if we coming over there and we bring this American money over there, and those African women start feeling motherfuckers from the U.S. and we coming in droves, bro, you know this to be real. You can't even go to a different state out this motherfucker and start fucking a bunch of they women and not have a problem. So you go over there, a bunch of motherfuckers go over there in droves with a bunch of American money and start buying shit up and opening businesses and things like that. They will walk right past your shit to go to the African man's version of your business. I'm telling you, we would be an outside. It would be an outside invasion. We would be outsiders over there. Pan-Africanism is our dream. It's not their dream.
It's not just our dream, man. I'm telling you. You got a bunch of people, man, from all over who have this dream. It's not just me. It's not just African Americans.
No,
I don't know. You don't have to go over the names again. Okay, so let me go over the names.
No, you don't have to do that.
Wait.
No, you don't. Oh man, you don't have to do that, bro.
Okay, so I'm not gonna do that.
We're not talking about the dream. We're talking about the reality.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, man.
How this would play out in real life is what I'm discussing, not what we want to do and what we wish would happen. I'm talking about what would play out in reality. And all this talk about $3,600 in the chat, like once you go over there, unless you're going to keep getting American money while you're in Africa, you understand what I'm saying? Then don't talk like that, because once you're in Africa, you exist in that ecosystem.
So look. All I'm saying, look, let me reiterate this, man, okay?
Yes, sir.
Are there some arrogant Africans? Certainly.
Absolutely. There's more than some though.
Well, let me explain it. Let me explain it this way, okay?
I got
First
you.
of all, let me just say this, okay? Whether you agree with the viewpoints being espoused here or not, you are tuning into a relatively entertaining conversation. I would encourage you, if you could, please make a donation to the Green Gorilla channel, whereby you can support the channel for the content is being given to you at the current moment. So, we need to eat, and we need to have a support system where we can keep whereby we can keep doing what we do. So I'm just putting that out there, okay? Notwithstanding the disagreements that we're having about this issue. So your idea is basically there's no benefit to be gained from it, and it's unrealistic, it's impractical. That's what you're saying. There's no benefit, it's impractical because they don't like us. They don't mess with us. They don't fuck with us.
I think Africans have the same opinion and I'm talking about collectively. Collectively is an important word in my sentence, okay? Collectively, Black Africans have the same opinion of Black Americans as the rest of the world, for the most part.
So look, my whole thing is this. All throughout the world, we got these white people, man, with their knees on our necks. And they ain't the only ones. So one could argue that China is running a close second. But one thing I will say is that on a whole scale fashion, the Chinese have not done what these Europeans have done. You feel me? They ain't done to us what these motherfuckers have done. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they have enslaved Asians have enslaved Africans. It has happened. Okay. But I'll also remind you, you know, that, slavery is pretty much ubiquitous around the world, or has been ubiquitous around the world. It ain't like Europeans just created or invented the institution of slavery. They didn't. Okay? They did not. But I do know that at some point, if we aspire to power, there are opportunities through which we can do so that I think are going to be opened up by means of trying to form coalitions with people from the Caribbean and Africa in order to resist against colonialism.
Elaborate.
And again, it's not mutually exclusive with the idea of ADOS. I'm not trying to. At the end of the day, this is what I think. If Africa doesn't rise up and become preeminent in terms of world power, Black people will never get respect nowhere else throughout the world. It just ain't gonna never happen. It'll never happen.
What are they doing to affect that reality?
What is Africa doing?
Yeah, to affect that reality that you just spoke of. Because the word power keeps coming up in this conversation. So what I'm saying is, what are African nations doing to gain power that we would miss out on if we don't link with them? And not only that, how are we even sure that they are willing to share that power with Black Americans outside of the context of we all Black?
Well, we're all Black because of what reason, Mr. Aurelius?
Genetics. That's it. But we are connected through genetics, but not through culture and not through nationalism. What I'm saying is, what power?
Hold on, Marcus. Okay, let me hit you with a counter question.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have in common with Black people throughout the world? Now, I mean, because you can look at all the differences. So we've done analysis. Okay, you can look at all the various differences. So that's what I call analysis. But what do we? So you're saying we have nothing in common with African people throughout the entirety of the world,
other than being Black?
Other than being Black.
I mean, I'm sure that we have a lot in common with individuals, but on a collective level, no. We on a collective level, they don't even relate. I just want to respond to Swift Battle. He said this cannot be broadcasted here. In other words, he meant, as far as me asking what a African nation is doing to aspire to power. Swift Battle, I'm sure that the CIA and all the other intelligence networks in the world, they're not monitoring this discussion for information because they don't need to.
Yeah, they already know what the fuck is going on. They ain't dumb, man.
Yeah. People kill me with that. Well, we can't say this and that on the internet because, we'll be blowing up the spot, as if these intelligence networks need us to tell them what's happening. But to get right back to what you asked me, what else do I think we have in common with Africans? I think that people, for some reason, think that because we're all Black, it's this big circle holding hands type shit, and people are more loyal to their nationalities than their ethnicities. My question was, what are African nations doing? Shout out to BGS Ibmore, he's in here. What are African nations doing to aspire to power? And not only that, there's a two-part question. The second part of it is, how are we sure that if they attain this power, that they intend to share that power with Black Americans?
Okay, so look, again, it's an ideal.
Understood. I agree with.
So it is an ideal that ultimately says, look, we've been, as Black people, all throughout, people of African descent throughout the entirety of the world have been subjected to Western imperialism, colonialism, and slavery,
Mm-hmm.
and racism.
Understood.
That's what we have in common. Colonialism, slavery, racism, and imperialism. Now, I'm pretty sure that, and let me just say this, Africa is a continent with immense resources.
Absolutely.
Now, one can argue, okay, so, well, what these dudes over there are going to do to help us and our plight over here? Like, how can aligning forces and joining up with those guys over there who have those resources? Because there's a lot of corruption going on in Africa.
Mm-hmm. I was about to address that.
There's a lot of corruption going on in Africa. Okay? But it's possible. But there's a lot of corruption going over here in these United States as well. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, but that corruption is not about us. The corruption over there is about, if we could talk about the resources in Africa, but who's controlling those resources, and are they sharing? Are they willing to share the spoils of those resources with us? And not only that, are they even in control of their own resources? Because diamonds, is a resource in Africa that they don't control. There's a lot of resources in Africa that the Africans ain't even in control of.
We trying to get control of that shit.
Well, like you said, everything comes by force.
Fuck them motherfuckers, man. Somebody come on your block. You got the, well, look, I'm getting to a throwback from my younger days and shit.
What I'm saying to you,
it's just simple, man.
They're not even applying force.
Hey, wait, look. They have thrown off the yoke of colonialism to some degree. Now, they ain't not totally out of it, because it's a chess game. Like Chuck D said in Rebel Without a Pause. We're all pieces in one big chess game. Yeah.
What African nation has nukes?
Bruh, I understand.
That's a good question.
I get it, man. Like, I understand it, bro.
So I don't want to listen. I don't want to talk in terms of dreams. I want to talk in terms of realities. Like, if we are to push people out by force, we got to have guns as big as they are. So what I want to know is, what African nation has nukes?
I don't think any has, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
someone says Egypt has nukes. Someone else says South Africa has nukes.
Hold on, let me look it up. African nation.
And then I would have to. And then I would have to ask, whose hand is on the button?
So South Africa has them.
Said South Africa gave them up. They don't have. They say they don't have them no more. We know white nations, the first thing they do is say, hey, look, give up your nukes. Even though they got them, they be like, hey, look, give up your nukes and we won't have an issue.
So so there's only 9 countries that have nuclear weapons at the current moment.
Whose hand is on them buttons? Is it a black finger?
No.
And somebody says, what's your point, Marcus? What my point is if we are aspiring to power by being Pan-African, because African nations are aspiring to power that we need to put our bid in for, then my question would be, well, what moves are these people making to aspire to power, to control their own resources and all this other shit that we don't want to miss out on, right? So if we don't want to miss out on these things, that means they're making chess moves to expel. I mean, we seen white, farmers get their land taken away, right? But ain't nobody been invited to South Africa over here that I know of to get a patch of land or some acres or some shit like that. So what I'm saying is, so whatever their acquisitions from this fight for power, or from this expelling the white man, or even if they have nukes or whatever. And I don't speak in terms of what the dream is. I'm talking about the realities. Are they even willing to say, hey, Black Americans, now that we have amassed this power, we got your back. Here's some shit. Come over here. We're selling oil. We selling diamonds. We selling all these resources that are on this continent. And here's your cut. Because y'all fucking with us and y'all dress like us and they just went at Beyonce over that Black is King shit. They do not see us as them.
So
just because just because
Marcus, all I'm gonna say is Pan-Africanism as an ideal.
Absolutely.
Is to create this. Wait a minute, bro. Let me because you've spoken for quite a bit of time.
I'm sorry, but I love it. But go ahead.
In the recent exchange, so you're a skeptic. Okay? I've noticed this about you. You're like, well, we can't never. Like, I was about to say something, but okay. So here's my deal about this, right?
No, let's do it.
I want Black men to have power throughout the world at some point, and I believe that we got to fight to have it. And God damn it, I want it. I want to see Black men have power.
I feel like you do.
Bottom line, I don't want to live as a fucking bastard child, the son of a fucking slave, in this goddamn hellhole forever, or to see Black men subjected to this bullshit forever. Fuck them. They gotta piss and shit just like I do. They gotta use their hands, their guns, whatever, their knives, whatever the fuck, just like anybody else does. The motherfuckers went to Vietnam and couldn't overtake them motherfuckers because they used the land and they used guerrilla warfare and they got them the fuck out of there. And they ain't give a fuck about dying. They was like the dudes from New Orleans. You heard me, bro? You hear me, Wardy? We don't mind dying. We don't mind dying for ours. You heard me? You know what I'm saying? They was about that life. I want us to be about that life. At some point, we got to be about that life. Because they gonna run shit forever. They gonna run us forever. Fuck them, man. They don't run shit. They only run it because we believe that they run it. Fuck them people, man. Now, if they respect if they respect, they'll get respect. But if they come with that disrespect, fuck them people, man. Fuck their law. Fuck their force. Fuck their police forces. Fuck their governments. Fuck their bureaucracies. Fuck them, man. They are men just like we are. They don't have a natural right to run shit no more than any other men on the earth. Fuck them, bro. Fuck them. And fuck cashing into their ass culture, because all they trying to do is fucking run shit and divide and conquer us with psychological operations. Fuck them people, man.
Listen, I feel as you do. My thing is,
fuck them, man. I mean, if they want to show respect, they can show respect if they want to show respect. But they've shown consistently that they don't have any fucking respect, man.
Fam, you're talking about white people in a conversation about Black Americans and African people from the continent.
So the promise of Pan-Africanism is this: create a united Africa, like have a united African states, just like they have the United States.
Understood. They have to be open to it.
Wait a minute. You asked me the question.
Understood.
So I'm trying to provide you some modicum of an answer about what I'm thinking about conceptually and theoretically on why this could be advantageous for not only people in Africa, but in the uniting with people all through from Africa in terms of the diaspora all throughout the fucking planet. And I think that I'm not saying this is going to be easy. It's going to take a fight. And it's going to have to entail the settling of tribalism. It's going to have to say, okay, look, we're different, but we're the same. We're different, We have different languages because Africa has different languages. It has the most languages out of any country. I mean, continent in the world. All I'm saying is, at some point, man, there's gonna be a shift in power. Black men ain't gonna stay down forever.
No, I understood.
And here, I'm saying, in this place, we seen what they do to us. I'm not saying that we should leave or, we have to try to settle elsewhere. That's not what I'm saying, man. Look, this is what I do know. Okay, so this is what I know about immigration, right? This is what I know about it. This is what I do know. Because you got a whole bunch of people from all over that have settled here in the United States. And after the second generation, there's no noticeable difference in culture unless that family instills that within that child. Because I know a whole bunch of people like that are African immigrants and they kids, them motherfuckers just like, I know one dude that his dad from Nigeria, he grew up in Chicago. He's my little brother's best friend. That dude ain't no different from any other nigga in Chicago, bro. None. He folks and everything. That's like Nipsey Hussle from Eritrea. That motherfucker was a rolling 60, bro. You feel me? So all of this idea about, well, they don't love us, they don't like us, man, they look like us.
Not exactly. That's not enough.
But culturally, the anchor babies is what creates the difference, bro. And it comes a time when the longer you're around a group of people, we got kids, man, that can go back and forth and do things here and there, and they can provide commerce and engage in trade and do all kinds of things, man. And they are not to the geographical United States, and we begin to think like explorers instead of thinking like slaves. When we start to think like militant-minded men instead of thinking about people waiting for what white people gonna give us, then we can have agency in this bitch.
Let me respond to some of these things.
I don't want to live like a slave, bro. I don't want my people, my descendants, to live like slaves forever, man. Waiting for what white people gonna give us on the plantation, bro.
It sounds good, but ask biracial people how they feel about your anchor baby theory. Ask Mexicans how they feel about your anchor baby theory. Ask anybody of any mixed race here what they think about anchor baby theories. At the end of the day, motherfuckers be on some nationalists. You ain't a purebred motherfucker. You don't deserve any. Let me check this out. Because I'm seeing, I cares, and he says 100 seems to believe in this failing system and disbelieves the success of PAs on the continent. Check this out, right? Nowhere in this discussion did I address believing in this failing system. There's a lot of things that GG is saying that I agree with. I don't think that they're effective to the point, though. We can sit here and talk about how white supremacy does Black Americans and how much they don't like us and this and that and the other. What that fails to address is our relationship with Africans on the continent. Okay? They're two mutually exclusive conversations. We can talk about white supremacy all day. That is irrelevant to our relationship with Africans on the continent. Just because I have an issue or we have an issue with white people, whether it be here or globally, and just because they have that same issue, don't mean that there isn't issues between us. You know what I'm saying? The enemy of my enemy is not necessarily my motherfucking friend. Okay? So just because there's a few people over there that are Pan-Africans don't mean if there's a rush of motherfuckers that go over there that these motherfuckers just be like, hey, Americans, what were you waiting for? We couldn't wait for you to get here and take this motherfucker over. What I want to understand, and this question has still not been answered, and has nothing. Every time I ask this question, we get back to white people and white supremacy. It's irrelevant. Because what's going on in-house ain't got nothing else to do with the rest of the block. The whole block can hate us.
So peep game, man.
But no. I want to ask the question again. I want to ask the question again. What about Africa is happening that is going to get us the power you're talking about? And how are we sure that this power will be extended to us? That question has not been answered. Us being black ain't got shit to do with it. And this is not irrelevant, bro. It's the reason for the disconnect. No, you have people over there that are not sympathetic to us. They are not sympathetic to us. Just because we are all black and we are all dealing with white supremacy does not create a bond between us. What I'm asking is, again, if these people gain power, and Africa's bigger than Ghana, okay? Africa's way bigger than Ghana.
Yeah, it's bigger than Ghana, man.
Okay, so if these people over here are doing things to affect them getting power, and we talked about fuck the white supremacists, and we need to take power, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, you take power with what? That's why I asked about nukes. Because if we're gonna fight,
yo. Okay, so look, peep it out.
Hold on. I want to be specific. If we're gonna fight people with power, because these people ain't just got power because they got power. They got power because they got weapons. So I want to know, how will power be taken and how will it be distributed to us? Because even here we fought in wars in this country, but the spoils were not distributed to Black Americans. So what I want to know is, aside from some sort of imaginary union that we have because we're all Black, how will the power they get? First of all, how will they get power? What force will they be using to take power? And if in fact that force is used and they attain power, how are we to benefit as Black Americans from these people who are not overwhelmingly putting out there that they are embracing us or they are relating to us in any sort of way?
Okay, so my thought is this. First of all, war is not always waged just with military combat. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you heard of Sun Tzu, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about physical force initially. It's about, first of all, knowing who these people are, man. And then forming alliances with people who are welcoming us. Like, okay, so right now at the current moment, man, Ghana is not the only nation in Africa that's allowing for dual citizenship, but it's not opening up and welcoming for African Americans to develop dual citizenship. It's not the only nation, bro. So you got Algeria, Angola, Benin, Burundi, the Ivory Coast, Comoros, Cape Verde, Tunisia, Djibouti, Egypt, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Sudan, Somalia, Senegal, South Africa, Nigeria, Morocco, Mauritius, Lesotho, Libya, Uganda, Zambia, Sierra Leone. It's a whole bunch of fucking countries, man, that have opened up and said, look, now I'm not saying that this is, I'm just thinking, bro. You feel me? Like, I'm like, man, like, we men, we don't have to be stuck here in this fucking dead end zone thinking that this is all the world has to offer us, man. And you got to provide some sweat equity. You got to put in work. And I'm saying that, you know, a lot of capital that Black Americans have is not just in the form of monetary capital, man. We have intellectual and cultural capital that we can add to those nations, man, if we decide to pick up and develop and offer dual citizenship. And you're not going to expect to come anywhere. You can't go to an organization that you just become a member of, and then all of a sudden you're going to be running shit.
I understand that.
Nothing works like that. So you're talking about a gradual process whereby you acknowledge that, look, if shit ain't turning out right for me here, I got a place where I can go and duck off and still live my life, and I can help aid in the development of this nation, I got a stake and an interest in developing something else beyond just this place here. Men got to be able to extend their branches, man, their tentacles into the world and behave like men normally do in the world. And I'm not saying it's not going to be challenging. I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy. And I'm not saying that, you're going to always be met with open arms. But we got to start a process, or otherwise it's just language in this, waiting for these white fuckers to give us some damn reparations.
No.
And then sit here with $3,600 to pass on to the next generation.
But okay.
Start the cycle again and 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 again.
I don't think you're addressing my question directly.
And it's not about power in the sense of all of a sudden we're gonna rise up and emerge and be able to fucking go into a goddamn multinational war with nuclear arsenals and tanks, planes, trains, and automobiles, and that shit is old school, man.
No,
that's
I understand what you're saying.
Things done no more. Like if the fucking Taliban can hold off the greatest fucking force in the world, the greatest military nation in the world.
What happened to the Taliban, man?
They ain't all done. They ain't all dead. I can guarantee you that shit.
They're not what you would want to compare your aspirations of Africa to. That's not what you want to do.
But I'm just saying though, like, look, has Africa been colonized? Yes. But they are beginning to emerge out of their colonialization, and they are beginning to become autonomous.
So answer the other half of my question. And shout out to Ivory, I see you. And Man Friday, I'm being directly to the point. So all that long-winded shit, bro, knock that off. My question was, aside from the attainment of power, how do we know and how are we sure that these things or the spoils of these things will be shared with us? Someone says that's not true. No African countries are offering dual citizenship to Black Americans. That's what somebody said. You have to have resources and be organized, and we have to be strategic and choose countries that would be very accommodated to us, free land, tourism, businesses, etc., legal rights. Now, my question, G, is this. Because at this point, them offering dual citizenship, I mean, shit, I can go anywhere and get citizenship. I can go to Canada and get citizenship, right? Other than them looking, what is our incentive? Like, other than, oh, they're Black and we're Black. What my question is, how do we know that these nationals of these countries on the continent are going to share and distribute not only power, but these resources with us? We have more of a interest in Africa than Africa has in Black Americans.
You think so?
Absolutely. It's not equal. It's not equally distributed. I think that, Black Americans have expressed, for the most part, their interest in these things. I want to know, where is the equal? You understand what I'm saying? Equal love coming from on that end. Not only that, I want to know how are we sure that once we get there, that these things that you're saying should happen in order for, and again, I don't know whose button is on what nuke or who controls oil over there or who controls, all these national resources that we say is over there. What I'm saying is, if they were to attain control of all of that shit, who says they want to share it with us outside of this idea that they're willing to do that because we're all Black?
Bro, I can't tell you what.
It's a good question, Because then we're back where we
Hold on,
started.
man.
It's
Look,
just
dude,
with black
you're
people.
answering your own fucking question, Marcus. You got to take a breath, man. Like breathe easy, bro.
Oh man, go ahead,
Like,
bro.
like Fabo said in that one song, 1 and 2, the 2 into the 3 into the 4. Breathe.
So, I mean, I've asked the question more than once here.
What incentive do they have? Why would they fuck with us? That's ultimately your question.
No, I want you to answer the exact question I asked. What's the what is the guarantee that they will
guarantee in life, bro? That's like getting into a marriage with a motherfucker. Ain't no guarantee it's gonna last.
Okay, well, the thing about it is Africans in a large amount of not only the ones that I've encountered face to face, but online and over the years have expressed that we are not them, they are not us, and they look at us, they look down on us. Africans
You
from
butthurt
various
about
countries.
that?
I'm sorry?
You butthurt about that?
It's irrelevant. That's a reach.
So
Nothing to do with nothing. It's not about how I feel about it. If the white man is telling me, fuck you, you're not like me, I'm superior to you, I'm gonna have the same attitude towards him that I would have anybody that shares my skin color saying the same shit. What's the difference?
What's the context and the basis for a black man saying that he's superior to you?
I don't know. Maybe he inherently feels that way, or he's learned that way from his surroundings. It doesn't matter to me.
So if you were to go to Ghana right now, just walking around. I mean, first of all, Americans do have a way of comporting themselves, which speaks arrogance, and which kind of
come on, man.
Come on, dog. You have to admit this shit. Everywhere we go, we're loud as a motherfucker. Like America has the World Series. We the world basketball champs.
My point is
Marcus, please. Let me talk to you. I know what your point is.
But you're not addressing it directly, fam.
Your point is we have nothing in common with these people other than the language.
No, it's not.
Other than our skin color. That's it.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you a direct question. My question to you is, what is the obligation? What? Because again, I wouldn't vote Republican because Republicans talk a lot of shit about black people. The same attitudes that are being expressed by white supremacy and white Americans are similar to what's coming off the continent about black Americans. So what I want to understand is, and they, and Africans.
So now Marcus, right now you're committing your own fallacy. The one you hate the most.
What's that? What, anecdotal?
No.
What?
All or nothing. Are there some Africans who are arrogant and don't like us? Yes, but not all.
No, that's you all or nothing. Because I have yet to express that all of anybody has said anything.
You saying they don't like us?
I said okay.
They don't like.
So then because you're forgetting what I said earlier. Individually is one way, but as a collective, there is no collective embracing of black Americans coming off the continent. And he said, Mr. Marcus, your perspective comes from a false opinion that ADOS started Pan-Africanism. I never said anything remotely close to that. He said, this is a false ADOS was given to America from the Caribbean. Listen, never said, I didn't even address that. Where y'all getting these points from?
So don't focus on them, Mark.
Fine. My question is,
don't focus on them. What's the guarantee that
so it's just like a black man fighting in a white man's war in America. You got nothing. What I'm telling you is, I'm asking, what's in Africa that we're going to go over there and be offered by Africans for our involvement when they are expressing to us as a collective? Mind you, I keep saying as a collective because you keep saying I'm saying all or nothing. There are people over there that wouldn't mind us there, but as a collective, they're not offering us to share power or to share resources. Dual citizenship is not an offer to share power and resources.
No, but it's you ain't gonna get power and resources here either. Just by being here.
Okay, but
But you gotta work at getting power and resources.
I understand that, but nobody's
so what I'm saying is what I would like to do, what I would like to see happen is what I would like to see happen. This is how I look at this shit, bro. The vast majority of African Americans or ADOS people, they might have an opinion about Africans or Caribbeans or whatever the case may be, predicated upon what they see on television or some other shit like that. Okay? Even in Africa, though, you got a whole bunch of people who live there that don't even know nothing about fucking Americans other than Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson or fucking lovers. They think we the greatest thing since sliced fucking bread. Oh, look, I can break dance.
You have white people here who feel the same way about them same people, but they ain't sharing power with you.
I'm just saying it's different though, because the one thing that separates us from them
is that we all black.
That we black. And that if you have a baby with one of them women, and that baby has citizenship in America and in that nation, that child becomes important to those persons who are in power precisely because that child has the best of both worlds. That child can matriculate in and out of both cultures. That child can be a diplomat.
I disagree.
It's possible. Look, all I want to do is see black people win, man.
I understand you want to see
there's a whole bunch of tribalism, there's a whole bunch of nationalism, whatever. We're not going to resolve this issue because we already getting closer to 2 hour mark. And, you know, when we get to turning our wheels, man, we can go for like 10 hours. I got
you, but I think that
I'm not about to do that today.
No.
But I love you, man. Look, I love you. And I love these conversations because I don't have all the answers, Marcus. I don't.
No.
I'm not, you know, but all I do is I have a hope that one day, wherever black men walk the earth and women walk the earth, I'm going to include women into this also, that we can walk with our heads held high, that we can have a functional culture that's not predicated upon that taught to us by people who despise us and hate us. And I'm not, one thing I do know, if these people in Africa hate us, they don't hate us as much as these motherfuckers. I know that for a fact. And that some of them, like I named the list of those persons before, are calling for us to help aid in the overthrowing of colonialism and imperialism and racism. Now, that's about as far as I'm going to take it today. I'm so delighted that we can have this conversation and start it. I know that there's going to be disagreement about it. I'm not saying I have all the answers associated with this question.
No.
But, you know, it's just, you know, like it's just like Bob Marley used to sing, man, you know, like, you know, rally around the red, gold, black, and green. The red is for the blood flow like a river. Marcus say, you know what I'm saying? Black for the people, oh so bold. You know? Martyrs, man. 400 years of slavery and imperialism. It's time for us, man, to seek new opportunities. And they might not work. We might try to form alliances with people, and we might get disappointed.
But we've been trying to form this alliance for some time now.
But hey, man, you know, like when it comes to world history, I have a big view in mind. I don't have a small view in mind. And to me, this is just practical. I don't even hate white people. I don't hate them.
So let me ask a question, right? How long would you say that the idea of Pan-Africanism has been around?
Well, I mean, one of the originators of the idea, about the 1900s, bro. It's been around.
Okay, so we have over 100 years of Pan-Africanism as a thought or whatever, right? You
Okay.
telling me in 100 years, there's still no large collective of black people from here over there? And I'm talking about, and when I say large, I mean,
what I'm saying, man. Look, Marcus, this is what I'm saying. Okay, look, let me just put it this way, okay?
mm-hmm.
Been in academia for quite a while. One of the things that I do, I just recently put a post up to another brother on Facebook, and it was a paper that I wrote with an African, a native African from Kenya, in fact. You saw that paper, right? You saw that chapter in this book, right?
I think there's something you sent me.
Yeah, I sent it to you. Well, I know I didn't send it to you, but you put a love mark on it when you saw it.
Okay, is it inbox?
It's not an inbox. It was a comment that I left on a thread. I'll send it to you.
I probably opened it in my. What I do when I see you post PDFs, I open them in Safari on my phone, but I gotta send it to myself so I don't lose them in the post. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. So the paper is a paper I wrote in conjunction because I go to conferences that deal with issues related to Africa. Okay, I've gone to conferences and I've kicked it with Africans. Now, some of these people are assholes, but some of them cool as a fan. Just like it's some Negroes who are assholes. I'm talking about ADOSs.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are assholes, and there's no future trying to collaborate. Now, the thing that ties people together are ideals. That's what ties people together.
But that's why I asked the question.
So wait a minute, Marcus. And look, we at the 2-hour mark, so we got to start closing it up. But what I will say is, people are united by ideals. Okay, so if you got a group of people who are dedicated from the mainland and from the Caribbean and from America, who are dedicated to the ideal of Pan-Africanism, and you collaborate with those people and you see how far you can get with it, those are the people you need to associate with, not the haters, not the detractors, not the people who are going to put up interference, but see what happens when you form alliances with those persons, man. And look, at the end of the day, I don't even look. My viewpoint in the end, like the big view I have of history, is this. I want to see people at some point understand that all of this racial bullshit is just bullshit to begin with. That's my end in view, because we're all people and we need to learn how to show empathy to one another and understand that the life we live is not a zero-sum game. That's what I want to see ultimately happen. But until this group of people begin to acknowledge and understand and realize that the way, because black people in America, the most forgiving, most accommodating, most, accepting people in the world.
That's actually my problem with it. But go ahead.
However, if they don't accept us, and if they're continuing to oppress us, if they're continuing to dominate us, if they're continuing to exploit us, this is like staying in Chicago right now. That's a deindustrialized society, a city that people moved into because there was a whole bunch of jobs there, manufacturing jobs. The conditions that obtained when people move there from the South, they don't obtain anymore. So now people got to understand when it's time to take stock and inventory of what's going on around them and say, what is tethering me to this place? Why do I have to stay here? What's the point of me staying here? There's no growth coming from here. But you got a continent that's on the move. Yeah, it's working through some stages. It's throwing off the yoke. Because to be quite honest, you still had apartheid in South Africa up until what point? The 90s? The late 80s? So you're talking about a continent that's beginning to come into its own. And I think that the extent to which it does come to its own and we rally around this Pan-African idea, then it's going to be harder and harder for these people to make the case that, for one, we're inferior, that we're pathological, that we have a backward culture, and that they can just get away with fucking us over and doing anything to our bodies when and wherever they want to. Because then there might be some repercussions and some consequences with seeing one of your people being summarily subjected to violence. That's just my viewpoint on it. Now, I don't look. There's a lot of discord. There's a lot of internecine warfare amongst Africans. But at some point, I believe they're going to get their shit together. I just want us to get our shit together with them and to not close off opportunities if they start extending olive branches to us. That's it, my brother. So I'm going to let you have the last word. You'll get the last word. And then we'll close this out. And I'll thank everybody for joining and so on and so forth.
All right. I feel you in just about everything you said. And, you know, Mr. Too Opinionated says, I understand Green's frustration. I understand it too. I do. You understand what I'm saying? But most of what G is saying is relating to, you know, white supremacy and our issues in America and things like that. My issue is this, right? Pan-Africanism has been around for over 100 years. You have, like he said, Black American people who are on some bullshit, and you got Africans that are on some bullshit. But in 100 years, people from here who are of the Pan-African spirit and people over there, right? For 100 years, that would embrace the idea of Pan-Africanism. In 100 years, there are no Black African settlements on the continent. In 100 years. Okay.
Well, there is Liberia, but that's a whole nother question.
I hear you, but what I, you know, my focus is not just on white supremacy, but anything that stands in the way of, you know, Black Americans and their rise to power, or their rise to wealth, or, you know, their rise to anything. And I think that we're being blinded by the fact that these people are Black like us, and a lot of people are ignoring the attitudes toward our specific group of people. You understand what I'm saying? They're ignoring the attitudes expressed about our specific group of people in the name of a dream of all, you know, people of a certain skin tone getting together. You know, this you know, these are real questions, because Black people in America have been looking for, you know, relief from white supremacy, that we are trying to run to anything without some sort of real you know, benefit or return on the investment. Period. 100 years. This is not a new idea. It's not a new idea. And there's something to be said for that.
Well, you know, you're right on a lot. You know, you're being more practical. I'm being more idealistic. I'm a philosopher. You're a skeptic.
And I'm not a skeptic. I'm a realist. If it was something,
same thing. God damn it, Marcus. You don't have to like.
It would have happened already, G.
No,
it would have happened already by now. It's been 100 motherfucking years. If this was something that was going to happen in 100 years, we'd be at least halfway there. We'd be at least halfway there.
So look, let me just look. So check it out, yo. I'm gonna give you the end. Like, you got the last word on this, man. At the end of the day, man, I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening to the conversation. You could be anywhere but you chose to be here with us on this great Wednesday, man. And also, I want to give and extend the opportunity for Marcus to again provide information about where they can come see him and come view his content. So would you please?
Most def, I'm going to be posting a couple of links in the comments section. You know, my name is Keep It 100 on YouTube and Marcus Aurelius on Facebook. If you type in Marcus Aurelius, you're going to get a few results, and only one is going to give you the profile picture that you see displayed in front of you. So that's the one you want to add. Talk shit daily on Facebook, and every once in a while I make a YouTube video. And that's what it is. And also, you can follow my man who also posts videos of me. His name is Bitter Truth Show. Shout out to BGS. I know you wasn't feeling my opinion, but shout out to you anyway. What's good, my man? And shout out to the chat. You know, it is, you know, again, I wish that this could happen. You know, no one, I don't think anyone has answered my question directly, even though they think I'm out of my mind, but nobody has answered my question directly. I think the same way we thought that investing in this country and their wars and things like that is going to get us the same results over there, because again, you know, white supremacy lied to us, and so will Africa.
So Marcus, look, the conversation at this point, I'm not gonna we're not gonna make any more arguments.
No. Shout out. So not at all.
Close out, my brother. That's it, man. You know, we've already had like an extended conversation about this.
You. I'm not gonna reach some shout out. I want to shout out because BGS said we need to talk. We will. Shout out to BGS.
Shout out to BGS. Thank you for joining us today here, my brother. I also want to give you a shout out too, BG. You the godfather of this Manosphere joint. And one thing I am so very happy about in relation to today, in relation to a conversation that we're having, is that it had nothing to do about Black women.
Yes, it does. Because we go over there and start fucking all the African women, we're going to get murdered.
Man, but I'm thinking beyond Black women, man. Like, you know, everything that I say is not related to how I'm going to have a relationship with a Black woman. It's bottom line. Like, I'm not always thinking about what's going on with a Black woman and her gonads and what her feelings are. You know, like, hey, it's just I do think my thoughts do extend beyond Black women. You feel me?
Absolutely. The world is bigger.
I'm very glad that we, you know, and I want to have more content like this, as opposed to just having content related to the kind of problems that we have with Black women. You feel me? So having said all that, man, let's disband. I want to thank everybody out there in the chat. And you know, some of these issues are contentious, but I'm glad that we're having a conversation. We are allowed to think about things, and we're allowed to go through, you know, the mental gymnastics associated with trying to resolve these kind of issues or talking about them. We have a right to do that, you know. So bless y'all, brothers. And whatever it is that you think and whatever it is that you feel related to politics or otherwise, man, if you can't show me love or Marcus love, show yourself some love, man. Have a blessed afternoon, man, and going into the evening. And thank you all so very much, man. One love, yo.
Peace.
Peace.